Welcome back to another episode of the Million Dollar Body Podcast. I'm your host, Nate Palmer, and this is the intersection of physical and financial success. If you're here, it's probably because you're a high performer, entrepreneur, or busy professional that's interested in gaining an unfair advantage in your life using fitness and nutrition as force multipliers. If you're not already part of the Facebook group, definitely go to natetrainingsystems.com/group. That's where we stream these podcast episodes live every Tuesday. You can join in, ask questions. So a lot of cool stuff happening, free resources, etc. Check it out. Go to trainingsystems.com to get in there. So today, if you're already in the group and watching it live, we're excited to have you because today we're going to be talking about pre-workouts. How do you know if you need one? I'm going to go over that first. What's the phase that you should be in before you start even thinking about taking one of these? And what are the right types of pre-workouts? What comes in pre-workouts? What are the garbage supplements out there? And we'll talk about all of this stuff. I did a lot of research for this one, so excited to dive in. So before we get started, one of the things we love to do is give a shout out to the people accomplishing big things in the Million Dollar Body community. Want to give a shout out right now to Joe. Joe has been absolutely crushing it. We've been working with him for only about a week now, and he's already down 6 pounds. He's hit all of his workouts. And the thing that I love that I'm just keep hearing from people is that this is not a very hard program. It's very easy to follow. Some people tell me, hey man, it's so easy to follow when I'm on vacation. Some people say this is the lowest weight I've been at in years. Some people say I don't stress about my dinners anymore. But either way, what I love to hear is that they no longer feel like the Million Dollar Body program is necessarily a diet. It's more just a lifestyle, something that's been working out for them really well. So good job, Joe. Good job, Jared. A couple other people who have been crushing it in the group. You guys are awesome. So today we're going to jump in, talk about pre and post-workout nutrition. And when is this important? No, so I've kind of divided this up into 3 phases: phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. You can kind of see them behind me. I got some great, if you're just listening to the podcast, you're missing out because I got some great visuals. I'm a master of stick figures, so I just draw those up. So phase 1 to me is the kind of the idea of a hard reset and building out a framework. Now, a lot of people will do this using Whole30, or even a keto diet, or 75 hard. Anything like that can be a great hard reset. So for me, my favorite hard reset is phase 1 of the Million Dollar Body program. Okay, that's the 28-day phase you read about in the book. So if you have questions on that, grab your book on Amazon. It's free on Kindle Unlimited. You can grab it off there. And by the way, I'm doing anyone who gets the book and writes me a review in June, so retroactively as well, will be entered to win a $50 Amazon gift card from me. So write that review, put that up there. Even if you're like, man, this guy's a little bit out there, just throw it up there because you'll be entered to win a quick gift card. So that's what the Million Dollar Body program goes over. It's 28-day hard reset. And while the daily investments we talk about in the Million Dollar Body program, the Million Dollar Body method, are applicable and should be used, it's a little bit more rigid at the first, because in phase 1, that's when we need to dial things in and start off hard. When I was working at, my wife and I moved out to Seattle in about 2012, and I had owned kind of my own studio before then, been working for myself, doing my own thing. And so I was a pretty good trainer. I enjoyed what I did, had some good mentors. Moved out to Seattle, and I wanted to work at a good gym out there. So I went to one gym. It's called Vision Quest Fitness. Met some cool people there, but they were like, oh yeah, we hire only the best and the brightest. And I was like, great. I want to be a really good personal trainer. So this is a good place to be. And then fast forward 1 week, they hired this chick, and I was like, you're a personal trainer? She's like, well, I've never done it before. I don't have any certifications. And I used to work at a lumber yard. And I was like, you guys said you hired the best and the brightest, and this person doesn't even know about training yet. she needs to do some rows. She's walking around like this. What's going on? So I ended up quitting that job. I was so frustrated because I just felt like I kind of gotten tricked a little bit. So I went and applied at another gym that my uncle had told me about. He's like, go to the Platt Pro Sports Club. If you guys are ever from if you guys are from Seattle area at all, you might recognize the name. It's huge. It's like Microsoft's gym. It's like 300,000 square feet. They have they have the Seattle Supersonics basketball floor. They got 8. When I was there, they had 8 basketball courts, 15 pools, just 115 personal trainers. It was insane. So when I got there, they're like, prepare for a longer interview to interview process. And I was like, okay, what's the interview process for a personal trainer? You want me to a long one, 27 minutes and not 17? I get there, and the interview process is 4 hours long. maybe even a little longer than that, 4.5 hours long. So intense with a man named Woody Cox. So thank his parents for that one. So me and Woody had a chat for about 4 hours. So like for 2 hours, like one of the recruiters was in there and then she left probably because she was super bored and hungry. And I had to stay there with Woody and just talk. And one of the, like, it was an incredibly like intense, like kind of annoying experience. Cause I was like, man, like when do I get to go home and eat some food? But the thing I learned from that experience was that when you want someone to take something really seriously, you have to take it extremely seriously because it's a deterioration process as you go down. So like if you're motivated, like this might be the most motivated you'll ever be. Like if you're like interested in something, like this is the most interested you'll ever be. And then as time goes on, you get less and less and less interested, motivated, et cetera. And that's just kind of a natural progression to things. You know, like you first start a new hobby or something else and you're like, yes, this is so sick. This is awesome. And then like even more so if you're a boss or own your own business, like if your standards are here, you can only expect your employees to be able below you standards to be right below that. If your standards are 100, the best someone else could do is 99. The best they can do. No one's going to be 105 if you're 100. So what I learned from that is that if you want someone to be like take stuff seriously, you got to go very, very serious up front, which is why I think a hard reset, Whole30 or the $1 Million Body Method is an amazing place to start with phase one. Now, phase one is just a great way to build a framework, do a hard reset, put your mind and body in a space to start getting results. And I think at this point, especially when you're talking about coming back in from not doing anything, this is not someone who's been working out for 6 months, trying a bunch of different diets. Like this is someone coming in kind of like without a whole lot of experience. Maybe it's been a while, maybe they fell off, maybe it's been like a couple months since they were like watching what they're eating. You need a hard reset. You need to hit that reset button. Okay. But once you do that, once you establish it, we don't need meal plans and like rigorous, strict things forever. We need to use that as a training tool, similar to how I learned to ride a bike, training wheels to start until then they pull the training wheels and you're on your own, you're riding around your grass and your dog jumps up and knocks you on the ground and your parents are like, ha, 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 ha. Maybe that was just me. I don't know. But maybe you have that experience as well. But so once we get the hard reset, you get your training wheels, we pull those away. And we go into what's called phase two. Now, phase two is a little bit of a longer process, or it can be, okay? Phase two is all about fat loss. And again, at phase two, pre-workouts, because we'll get back to the pre-workout part, guys. Pre-workouts are not so important. Not yet, okay? Because our focus is really on fat loss, and our workouts aren't necessarily like the main driver of fat loss. It's going to be nutrition. So how do we make sure that we are in a place to start getting pre-workouts or enjoying them? And not to say that like if you're in phase two, if you're in a hard reset, you can't take a pre-workout. It's not detrimental. It's just unnecessary. Okay. And once you get to phase three, that's where we can start putting this in. But what is phase two? Phase two is all about fat loss because in order to get to a place where you can start recomping your body or building muscle effectively, or even just maintenance, you need to get down to a specific weight. And I don't know what that weight is for you, but one easy way to determine if you're in the right spot is by checking your waist to height ratio, WTH. WTH, man. W2H, waist to height ratio. So what you want to do for this is you want to measure your waist at your belly button, okay, at the narrowest point of your stomach, and then divide that by your height. So you can do this in centimeters, you can do it in inches, whatever works for you. But we want to make sure that in order to move on to phase three, we need to make sure that your waist to height ratio is 0.46 or less. That's the point when you'll start looking better, feeling better, having more energy, being more sensitive to insulin. And by the way, like if you are trying to bulk and your waist to height ratio is way above that, your body fat is above 20-25%, you're going to add equal parts fat and muscle. And it's just you're never going to like look or feel your best. You're going to feel super sluggish. So if you get down to this waist to height ratio, you might decide, hey, I look and feel amazing. Let's just maintain. Great. At that point, phase three. You might decide, hey, it's time to build a little bit of muscle. Also awesome, phase three. But we have to get you here first so your body is primed to receive the nutrients to be able to work as hard as possible to get the results you're looking for. Okay, so we need to get this down. If you're confused about this, I have I call it my burn score. And it's basically like, how good is your body at burning fat? So go to n8trainingsystems.com/quiz to get access to that. Okay. And there's a couple of people who I've seen come through with that. And like, it's really an amazing tool for just understanding what your body needs. Because at a certain point, it's about like you don't need to lose 5 more pounds. You probably just need to drop an inch off your waistline to get into a really healthy place. We're getting to pre-workouts, I promise. Okay, and then phase 3, that's going to be recomp, maintenance, and this is really where pre and post workout nutrition come in, because now we're going to start trying to make sure that your body can build muscle appropriately. And at this point, now is a time when pre and post workout nutrition becomes more and more important. What you're having, what time you're having it, that sort of thing, because it's a game of inches. Fat loss is much faster than muscle gain. It's much easier. Okay, so if you thought fat loss is frustrating, just wait till you try bulking. It's a challenge. So especially if you're looking to do it in a way where you still look good and still feel good. So let's say you've done a hard reset. Great. You've gotten your fat loss to the point where your waist height ratio is 0.46, which, by the way, if you need help with this, if you need help dialing this in this summer, DM me lean and I will get back to you to let you know exactly how to do that. So you've gotten past that and now you're in phase 3, your waist height ratio is 0.46 or lower. You're ready to rock with some pre-workouts. You're ready to build some muscle, build your metabolism up. What is next? Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So phase 3 really needs to worry about that. Worrying about pre-workouts in phase 1 and phase 2 is so my first car was a maroon 97 Nissan Sentra. So worrying about pre-workouts would be a lot like me taking that car and then throwing some spinners on the rims, throwing like a foil on the back, like a little like drag racing thing, and then throw some racing stripes. Cool. It's you have a piece of shit car. You don't need to church it up for me. You're not at the point right now where you can even benefit from a lot of these things. So if you like the energy boost, if you're trying to work out hard, great, but you just don't need it yet. You don't need it. Okay. So most of the time when you think about pre-workouts, we think about 2 things: energy and fruit punch flavoring, Red 5. Okay, we think about No Explode, we think about C4, we think about things with ridiculous names like Jekyll and Hyde or The Beast, or I took one for a while called Dark Matter. They put a bunch of adolescent males and they put all 3 of the matrices on across the room, and they're just names to stuff. Just put a bunch of names on paper. We'll use that for all the pre-workouts. I'm convinced that's what happened, because all pre-workouts just have redonkulous names. Okay. So when I say pre-workouts in this context, I'm talking about supplements, and I will talk about the food version of this as well, kind of towards the end. So we think energy is important. We think the fruit punch flavoring is important, but what's actually really important in your pre-workout is fueling your muscles, giving yourself the nutrients that you need to be able to make sure that your muscles, A, have enough fuel to push through, and B, that they don't burn out. And then the last thing is they need blood flow. You need more blood flow, because more blood flow brings more nutrients. More blood flow brings more ability for your more volume into your muscles from that blood. And then there is some people who claim that having more blood in the muscles stretches the muscle fibers as well as the fascia, which creates more growth. Okay. There's an entire training program based around this called FST7, Fascial Stretch Training 7. And they would do 7 sets of 15 reps with 30-second breaks. Okay. So more research is coming out, just kind of as an aside, that says that 3-minute breaks are better for hypertrophy than the shorter breaks. As well as those longer sets, 15 reps, et cetera, are going to be more taxing because it's just more time where your muscle is flexing, more time spent with your muscle working. So you'll have a harder time recovering from higher rep sets. Not part of the podcast. Maybe you'll find it interesting. So here are a couple common ingredients for pre-workouts that are important and do a good job. Okay. Number 1, citrulline, especially citrulline malate. Okay. This is a supplement that can help increase the blood flow, which increases the pump, and vasodilation. I'm going to say vasodilation, vasoconstriction a couple times. Vaso just being veins. So the more vasodilation, the more you look like your muscles are working. You can see your veins. You get that pump, which is awesome. Betaine is a great supplement because it can help actually give your, like, again, with a vasodilation, but it's also going to help your muscle produce more power, which is interesting. It also is like there's a couple studies that showed that betaine that enabled just regular people to gain more muscle and lose more fat while doing the same thing as a control group that didn't build any muscle or build any fat. Creatine is a supplement that's been really widely studied, and it's also it's pretty inexpensive. So creatine goes in your muscles and creates ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, which is essentially the one thing that can help you. Like, the easiest way to describe it is like, if you can do 8 reps with 100 pounds, if you start taking creatine, you'll be able to do 10 reps with 100 pounds. It just gives you a little bit more oomph for those things that are about 20 seconds or less. So lifting, sprinting, those types of things. Creatine is not going to help you with your endurance activities with your running. Arginine is arguably a little bit of a worse version than citrulline malate. Arginine is just a way, again, to increase vasodilation, increase the pump. Beetroot powder. Beetroot is actually like when your body digests beetroot, it creates the betaine. So it's just like another way of obtaining that. But what can happen with the beetroot powder, which is really interesting, is it can actually improve your endurance as well by helping your body handle oxygen better. So before I do cardio or go on long rides or anything like that, I'll take some sort of beetroot extract, golden root extract, as a way of just feeling better and having less fatigue, especially like cardiovascular fatigue during a long cardio session, during a long ride. And then the last one is that I think is important and good to include is beta-alanine, which is a supplement that can help buffer the fatigue you feel by creating what's called carnosine. Carnosine is in your muscles. It helps you keep from feeling fatigued early on in your set. So again, kind of like creatine, it just gives you a little bit more ability to do a couple extra reps that you may not have been able to do without taking it. So here are some ingredients. You notice I didn't say caffeine at all. So here's some ingredients that are meh. They're fine. They're not great. They're not necessary, but some people like them. Okay. Number one is caffeine. Caffeine goes on that list because caffeine, while it does give you energy, and energy can kind of hype you for the gym, caffeine is a vasoconstrictor. So with everything we're trying to do is trying to like allow more blood flow to reach our muscles, reach our body. Then what happens when you take stimulants like caffeine? And then there was a supplement for a while called Jacked or Jack 3D. It had DMAA in it, which is now illegal or been banned by the FDA. Again, just stimulants will generally squeeze your veins and arteries. So not allow quite as much blood flow to the areas you're working. So that's also why if you ever had like a pre-workout or a thermogenic or something with a lot of caffeine in it, you can get a little bit more lightheaded or have that when you stand up from doing burpees, squats, or those back extension exercises always get me. So if you ever felt like that, you probably just need less stimulants pre-workout. Guarana is an herb that a lot of people equate with energy. It's fine. It's not really been proven to impact your lifting at all. And then the last one, or then B12. B12 is a vitamin that helps with energy production. Also, it works in terms of energy production, but it's not also been proven to do much for your lifting. And the last one is niacin. Niacin can help flush waters. I think it's a diuretic. So you'll feel a little bit like a burning sensation. Burning is probably the wrong word. Your skin will get hot. You'll have to get a little bit red. I feel like niacin is the thing that we talked about in high school when people are like, I've been smoking weed and I got to get a job. I got to get a piss test. And everyone's like, oh, bro, just drink 10 gallons of water and take 15 niacin. And that was high school logic for how to pass a drug test. And I can neither confirm nor deny if that worked or not. I didn't smoke weed, do drugs, do anything in high school. I was a pretty good kid. So college fixed me up though. And then here's a couple of common ingredients that you see in pre-workouts a lot of the times that suck. Number one, branched chain amino acids. Branched chain amino acids generally suck, okay? At the very, very best, they're a waste of money. At the very worst, they can be detrimental to your progress. Amino acids are one thing, but branched chain amino acids are these three in particular. leucine, which is actually it can be good and has a positive effect, especially post-workout. It can help protein synthesis. Isoleucine and valine. Isoleucine and valine, when taken in conjunction or even separately, can decrease your protein synthesis, decrease something called mTOR, and just generally decrease your ability to recover and utilize nutrition to build muscle. So you don't want to be taking those during a workout, after workout at all. The only time a branched chain amino acid is appropriate is if you're fasting and you just want to like spare muscle, because amino acids don't have calories, but protein does. So if you take a protein shake, it breaks down into amino acids, but it will break you out of a fast. So if you're fasting, it can be a good option. Other than that, never take branched chains. It doesn't help you. So branched chain amino acids suck, and then taurine sucks. Taurine is a great amino acid if you're trying to relax and wind down. Okay, I don't know how it happened that it has become a staple in every energy drink, from Rockstar to Reign to Red Bull to all these, to Monster. Everyone has taurine in them, and taurine is a caffeine antagonist. So if you're drinking an energy drink with caffeine in it and taurine, they're going to headbutt each other. They're going to fight. And so I don't know if it's purely malicious, where they want you to just drink more energy drinks, so they give you an upper and a downer, or if it's just like everyone's doing it, so we're just doing it too. Keeping up with the monsters, keeping up with the rock stars. I'm not certain which one it is, but either way, it's bullshit. And if you stop taking taurine in your energy drinks, stop taking taurine in your pre-workouts, you can have taurine before bed and that's it. But it's going to be hard pressed to find a PM supplement with taurine in it, because everyone's like, oh, taurine, that's a workout thing, right? It's an energy thing. It's not. It's more similar to tryptophan. And a lot of people are like, well, yeah, tryptophan, that's in turkey, right? It makes you sleepy. I mean, there's more tryptophan in pork than there is in turkey. But either way, if I was like, yo, I got this sick pre-workout, it's got caffeine, it's got creatine, it's got a bunch of tryptophan in it, so you get sleepy as fuck when you work out, you're gonna be like, no, thanks, I'm gonna skip it. So skip your taurine as well, okay? So those are the kind of the common ingredients you see in pre-workouts. And then I have two things that you won't find in pre-workouts, but can be beneficial. Okay. I'm going to give you both of these with a grain of salt. Number one is electrolytes. Sodium is a really great pre-workout, because it's going to help you increase blood flow. It's going to help you improve your hydration. A lot of people find that if they have a little bit of salt or something before a workout, they just feel better. Their joints feel better. They feel more hydrated. You can take in more water. Your body just needs salt, especially if you live in an arid place. I'm in Arizona. It's like 122 degrees right now. So salt is hugely important for this. So electrolytes can be good. The way I prefer to get this is with a pickle. I love a pre-workout pickle, and I don't care who knows it. Pre-workout pickles are awesome. They're 0 calories. They don't take much to digest. I love the vinegar in them, and they like the pump between no pickle and pickle is remarkably different. So if you've never tried it, if you're like, man, this guy is completely full of shit, let's try it out. Try it out. Go in your fridge, go pickle. Unless it's a bread and butter pickle, those are gross. Don't eat those. Not because they're bad for you, but just because they're gross, and you're a gross human if you eat them. And then the second one that like you won't hear anyone talk about in terms of pre-workouts is nicotine gum. And I haven't really mentioned that a lot recently. I've kind of been staying away from it. Been doing a lot more caffeine than nicotine these days, but nicotine is a powerful stimulant as well. But the thing about nicotine gum or the lozenges is it doesn't have the same effect on addiction that anything that gets into your bloodstream, smoking, dip, or even the patch. Okay, those are all are more bloodstream, so which increases the amount or addiction potential. Whereas for some reason, if you're absorbing it sublingually, you're not going to have that same potential. So when I was 18, I was working at a place called Paddock Pools and Patio in Scottsdale. And one thing I learned about the workforce at that point is that if you smoke, you get 36 breaks a day. And I didn't know that. I always thought you just got one break because of laws and stuff. But it turns out if you're a smoker, you get like 15 extra breaks per day. And they really happen most of the time when it's busy. So like, I was like, wow, this is crazy. I never knew that smokers were legally allowed to take breaks literally all the fucking time. So I was like, that's cool. So, but I was like, I don't smoke cigarettes. That's kind of gross. So I bought a bunch of cigars and I started smoking cigars. And everyone was like, hey, you can't take smoke breaks and smoke cigars. And I was like, oh, this is only a cigarette break. That's so interesting. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to smoke cigarettes now. So there was about a 4-month stretch when I was 18 where I started smoking Marlboro Reds because I wanted more breaks at work. So I would stand out back and like, oh, it's good cigarette. Oh man, I'm having a really good cigarette right now. And I just smoked cigarettes with these other people working at paddock, pools, and patio. And it was just it was a weird time for me. All my friends were away at college and I was going to a community college nearby and working and stuff, trying to save money. So it was a strange time for me. So I have like a little bit of a history of smoking and so sometimes like nicotine kind of set me off, but I've never found that to be the case with chewing the gum or the lozenges. So that's just my experience with it. If you have like kicked the habit, I probably wouldn't tempt fate, but if you have never tried it, give it a shot. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy like a 10-pack for pretty cheap. So it's worth a try. If I'm going to do a nicotine gum, I'm always going to do 2 milligrams. I think any more than that gets really scratchy in your throat. But nicotine's a stimulant. It's a nootropic. It can help increase your memory, your learning. It actually improves reaction times in a lot of people. So it can be a good boost. And I find that like if like having a cold brew takes you from like a 4 to an 8, having nicotine will take you from a 4 to a 6, so a little bit less. But then as soon as you spit that gum out, it like that goes away. So you're not going to like maintain it. If you take it late in the day, it's not going to keep you up, that sort of thing. So that's one thing I like about it. So those are kind of my go-tos when it comes to pre-workout supplements. Now I want to give you a caveat here in terms of like meals, because this is honestly more of what most of us are dealing with than having like to worry about a bunch of supplements. So pre-workout meals, you could easily not even stress about supplements at all, and instead just focus on eating the right foods before you work out and after you work out. And the thing you need to understand about this is that pre-workout and post-workouts can be basically the same meal. What we want there is we want to be able to fuel our muscles. So if you've been following along for a while, you know that we need that like high impact fuel of carbs. And we want something to repair and rebuild our muscles with protein. Okay. Same thing as we finish up. We want something to help our muscles recover, protein. And then we want something to help replenish our glycogen stores, carbs. So carbs and protein pre and post workout. So there's a bunch of different ways you can do this as long as you don't like overthink it too much and add too much like high fat stuff, that it doesn't really matter. And again, this really only matters if you're in phase 3. If you're in phase 1 or 2 and you're like, I put peanut butter, or avocado, or oil or in my post-workout, doesn't matter. That's fine. It's fine. It's only really starts getting important when we start diving into recomp and muscle building. So unless you're in phase 3, don't stress about the pre and post-workout nutrition. Okay. So carbohydrates are very important. They can be a good way to build, help you build muscle. Stress about having too much of those until you get to phase 3. Personally, some of my favorite like pre-workouts, I like a fruit for pre-workout, and I like a protein shake, something that's going to be easy to digest. That doesn't take me 2 hours to digest. So I'm not going to have like, a steak and potato, like where I'm now feeling super sleepy and I need 2 hours before I can even hit the gym. I like something a little bit faster. It takes me about 30, 45 minutes to digest. Same post-workout. I like something fast and easy to digest, but it's also a good time to have more complex carbs, have that steak and potatoes. Like that can be a good fit as well. So while you can have fruit and protein on both sides of the meal, generally my preference is easy to digest, simple carbohydrates, and then like more robust food, like actually going with like animal proteins and more complex carbohydrates. At that point, sweet potatoes, oats, quinoa, rice, something like that. So that's my preference on pre-workout nutrition. Generally, pre-workout, I'm trying to give myself between 45 minutes and 90 minutes to digest that food. And then post-workout, I'm going to try to have it basically as soon as possible. There is a secret trick that's like phase 3.5. I guess it's not that secret, but having post-workout, if you're having a amino acid called leucine, so it's one of the branched chain amino acids, but if you can have it in isolation or with some creatine as well, it's a great way to help your body just get more out of the protein you're taking into it. So the best possible thing, if you're looking to build muscle, is pre-workout carbs and proteins, post-workout leucine, creatine, and then 30 minutes later, have your protein and your carbs. So I know that was a lot of information, and we kind of went over some of the nuances of this. So if you have any questions, if there wasn't clear at all, if you're just wondering like, okay, just tell me what should I do, hit me back, DM me the word lean. You can send that to me on Facebook if you're watching live, or shoot it to my email, nate@n8trainingsystems.com. I'd love to connect with you and see exactly what you need to be successful, as well as what phase you're in, so we can talk about that. So DM me or email me the word lean, Lean, and I'll get back to you with some of my thoughts. Other than that, guys, I hope this was helpful for you and didn't get too in the weeds, but gave you some good stuff to start focusing on and start thinking about when it comes to your pre-workouts, as well as the most important thing, which is getting results. And guys, like I say, every single time on this podcast, literally, if you are in this already, if you are working on a goal, if you're burning fat, building muscle, you cannot lose if you don't quit. You cannot lose if you don't quit. Hope you guys have an amazing week. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye.